come on. Quit lying to me. Funny joke! What is up, guys? It's McMahon Chief Fan here. Welcome back to another video. And I apologize for me screaming in that intro, but that's... I don't know. I have that weird sense of humor. But today, I'm doing something that I promised a long while ago. This is the review where you guys chose which book I read in, and I review it. And the one that we eventually went to was Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. And let me tell you, I loved this book. This was a borderline 5 out of 5 for me. It was absolutely fantastic. But why is it so fantastic? Why is it so praised by me? Well, let's get into this. Alright, so this story centered around a young woman named Kathy, who went to this prep school with with a boy and a girl named Ruth and Tommy, and it pretty much encounters their lives and from youth all the way up to when they're adults. So the first part is kind of like their youth, their time in the prep school, and then the second and third parts are really more about their adulthood, and things happen. That's what, if you ever want to avoid spoilers, just say things happen and they will go off pretty easy. But Never Let Me Go, the premise didn't really hook me in. It really didn't hook me in. And in fact, I'm really going to tell you the problem with this book first. The reason why I didn't get a 5 out of 5. The first 2 chapters aren't really that great. In fact, they're just okay. And even though it is alright to build up your book time after time as time goes on, it is very necessary to have a good hook to hook your readers in the first few chapters or even the first page. That was missing here. It took me about 2 chapters to really get me into this. It was the end of chapter 2 when a new character was introduced that I really started to get the hang of this book, really get me into Ishiguro's writing, and just overall enjoy the book. So now that ends the problem, because that was a significant problem, or enough to get me not give it a 5 out of 5. So what's so amazing about this book? What is the praise of this book that just hops right off the page? Well, the characters. Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy are probably 3 of the best characters I've come across in a long, long while. This really reminds me of a shorter version of like the friendships in The Secret History or Middlesex or something like that. But Never Let Me Go just has this uniqueness in contemporary fiction that just really just blows it out of the water. I loved these three characters so much. I connected with them. I felt what they felt, and it was just a great experience knowing these characters, meeting these characters, feeling with these characters, and that's what characters are for. They're here to help you. The world of book literature is an form of escapism for me, and the hand that drags me into that world of escapism are the characters. And my goodness, there were 3 hands just waiting there to drag me in. And I took their hands and just went into their world. It was such a great story. In fact, speaking of that, let's talk about that. The story was well-paced, very well-constructed, and just depressing. This is one of the most depressing books ever, but at the same time, the first half was just not as depressing. The second half gets disturbingly depressing. Like, it gets dark in the second half. So if you don't like massively dark things, then the second half of this book won't be for you, because yeah, it involves with like a whole ton of like medical issues and just like drama, and it's just insanely depressing. And yet, I love it. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. So I was, of course, a little bit more in favor of this book's emotional attachment. And I could not set this thing down once I got hooked into it. And just I don't know what else to say. I honestly don't know what else to say about the story. It's amazing. It's one of those classic coming of age stories that not only go through childhood but also adulthood. I love it when coming of age stories do that, and I'm also just a massive fan of the whole coming of age thing. So, yeah, this was a great story. And the final thing I want to talk about is the writing. Oh my mother of God, this Ishiguro, his prose is amazing. His prose is amazing. I cannot describe how beautiful some of the lines in this book are. In fact, let me just flip right through one of the pages. This was all a long time ago, so I might have some of it wrong. But my memory of it is that my approaching Tommy that afternoon was part of a phase I was going through around that time. Something to do with compulsively setting myself challenges, and I'd more or less forgotten all about it when Tommy stopped me a few days later. I don't know about you guys, that I love that. I love it when when we dive into the character's emotions, but it just doesn't get too sappy. It's not too rock hard solid, and it doesn't get too sappy. That's what Ishiguro did. That if you want to know how to just make me squeal like a pig, this is the type of emotions that this book gave me. This is why. This is why. Just I'm ending this because otherwise it'd just be me saying, "Oh, this book is great. This book is great. This book is great." But besides that mediocre beginning, this book is amazing. This book is absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. In fact, some of my favorite booktubers just say, "Oh, this book is alright," or "This book is trash." But honestly, big shout out to Al over at the Bookish Bastard for recommending this to me, because Never Let Me Go was a novel that I just fell in love with. I could not set it down, and I probably will reread it sometime later in my life, when I'm probably the age of when these characters were in the second half of this book. So, if I didn't give it 5 out of 5, then you guys probably know what I gave it instead. A 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is technically flawed, yet I still adored it. If you want to check this out, I cannot highly recommend it. And even though I do like his other big novel, The Remains of the Day, start with this. This is absolutely amazing, and I just could not set this thing down. It's one of the great novels of the 21st century thus far. I loved it. So that was the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys read this book, comment down below and tell me what you guys thought about this book. And I'm glad I read this, because as of right now, I'm going through a pretty torturous experience. But anyway, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.